Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a narration of a message that I received, and it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Please post my story as hidden identity. I am a woman that is currently staying here in Kempton Park in South Africa, but I am not going to be in South Africa for a very long time. I have a mission that brought me to South Africa, and after my mission, I'm supposed to return back to my country of birth, which is I don't have any form of documentation at all, no passport, nothing. The laws that govern us, they are different from the laws that govern you. I can go to any country that I want if I have to serve my master, and I am always going to be protected. I am working as a maid. I was initiated into Satanism not because I wanted to. Even those that I'm going to be targeting here in South Africa, it's not like they wish to be initiated into Satanism. Just like I was initiated against my will, I am also going to initiate them against their own will. My target, I have been given a target of 58 kids that I am supposed to target, and after that then I return back to them. Let me take you back so that you can understand where I am coming from. I was born and I was raised in a township just outside of Harare, which is called Mavuku, to those that do not know it. So growing up in Mavuku, it was a very poor township. My parents, they were so poor. As for my father, the job that he was doing, he was not getting a lot of money. My mother, she was earning much better than what my dad used to earn, because my mother, she was working in the suburbs of Borodale. She was working for a very rich family. But these people, they would sometimes tell my mom that she could not return back to the location because they wanted him to work over the weekends. But this was not always the case at all the times. So we understood that there were days when we could not see our mom. She could not return back from work because she would be busy. Later on, when I was all grown up, my mother then told me that every weekend I was supposed to come and assist her. I was born in a family of 3. We were 2 girls and 1 boy. So each and every Friday, after finishing school, after doing the dishes, I would wait maybe until it was somewhere around 5 p.m. Then I would cook some food. This food that I would cook, I would leave it on the stove so that when my father returns back from work, he can heat up the food, then he can eat with my siblings. Then by then, I would have already gotten onto the taxi and go to Borodale, where my mother would let me in and we would work together. On Friday night, the job that I would do is to clean the dishes after the family that she worked for would have finished eating, sweep the kitchen. Then the next day, I will do my maid duties in full. And after doing that, I would go outside and help the gardener. So I would work from Friday night, Saturday, as well as Sunday. Then later on, in the evening on Sunday, I had to return back home from Borodale to Mavuku, where I would do my class homework as well as other chores, preparing for school the next day. I was not getting paid any single cent for the work that I was doing. It was just that I had to assist my mother because it was a lot of work that had to be done throughout the weekend. But the people that my mother were working for, they were good people. They used to treat me nice. And as time went on, I would wait until it was Friday and I would know that I am going to enjoy, because unlike home in the location, we could find out that we do not have food. Sometimes you have to give the food to your siblings and you eat less. Even sometimes my dad would go to bed hungry so that we can have something to eat. So I would want to go to the suburbs because there was plenty of leftovers that me and my mother, we would eat. It was just nice. It was a place where electricity would never go. There was no load shedding. It was just nice, rather than staying in the locations at all the times. Then there was this other Friday when I was supposed to go to Borodale. After we had finished school, I did my homework, I did my house chores. I was sitting, I was anxious so that I can start cooking and I can go and see my mom in Borodale and she will give me some leftovers. I looked into the sky and I saw that it was about to rain. This made me to become more anxious, but because I did not want the rain to stop me from going to visit my mother. I did not want to spend the weekend in Mavuku. I then spoke with my friend and I said, I am about to leave right now, because if I wait until I would have finished cooking, then the rain is going to stop me. It is better that I go onto the taxi right now. I had a friend of mine who was staying right close to where we were staying. So then she came and then I showed her the food that she was supposed to cook and everything that was supposed to be done. And I said, you can wait maybe until it is 4 p.m. or 5, then you can start cooking and you can leave the food. My dad, he will know what to do when he would have arrived. So this was a trusted friend. I knew that she was going to do it. I then left him with my siblings, got onto the taxi. By then it was already raining. She even asked me if I was going to go ahead with my plan to go to my mother's workplace because it had already started raining. I could not let the rain stop me. I jumped onto the taxi and off we went to Borodale. When I was in Borodale, when I got off from the taxi, that was when my problems began, because I expected the rain to stop when we were maybe in town, but that did not happen. So I started to walk because the taxi, they dropped me off where I was supposed to get off, and there was no place where I could hide from the rain. As I was walking, I was soaking wet. I saw this other man that was driving a black Jeep. It was a beautiful car. I did not focus much on it because I was focusing on my problems, rushing to my mother's workplace so that I can be able to get out of the rain. This man, he stopped his car, he rolled down the window and he said, young lady, where are you headed to? I then told him that I was going to my mother's workplace, and then he said to me, okay, that is fine, hop in. With the way that I was so soaking wet, I said that it was impossible because I was going to mess up his leather seats. He then took off his jacket, he threw it at the back seat and he said, there is no problem, you can sit on top of my jacket. I then hopped into his car. I was really wet. We then started to talk. Instead of him driving me straight to my mother's place, which was a little bit far still at that time, he said, it is still raining, let us go to my place. We then went to his house. After we had gone to his house, then that was when he made a cup of tea for me and then he gave me a blanket. We were sitting in the living room when we started to talk. To my surprise, he told me that he knew my friend Sandra. Sandra, she was someone that was working right next door. This girl, she was someone that was so nice to me. She started being friends with me and she would invite me into her house. She was also staying in Borodale, right next door to where my mother was staying. I was surprised that she knew this girl, and then he told me that this newfound friend of mine had called him and had told him to pick me up because it was about to rain. This was really strange because I had not spoken with my friend, because back in those days it was only rich people that could afford cell phones. So I did not have a phone where I could have communicated with him and telling her that I was on my way and I was in the rain. So we spoke about a lot of stuff. By then I did not know that him and my friend, they were both Satanist, and my friend had looked at me and had seen that I was someone that could be initiated into Satanism. The cup of tea that they had given to me, it was the beginning of my journey into Satanism. When the rain was done, we got into the vehicle and he dropped me off at my mother's workplace. I did not tell my mother a lot about this guy. I just started to help my mom do her duties. After that weekend, I returned back to the location and life returned back to normal. I did not know that there were people planning to initiate me into Satanism. The day that I was initiated into Satanism, it started just like any other day. All along, my friend had been telling me that she was going to speak with her own parents and they liked me quite a lot and they wanted me to stay with them in Borodale. This made my mom to be so happy. She would pray to God that it was going to happen sooner. For my friend had said that her parents, they were going to agree to send me to school. I'll just help them with some house chores whilst they were sending me to school. The day arrived and then my friend from Borodale called me and then she told me that we were supposed to go to a party. This was going to be an all-white party. She came and she collected me. To my surprise, me and him, we ended up going to Matthew's place, that guy that had assisted me the day when he saw me walking in the rain. When we arrived at his house, inside I saw that by the driveway, there were a lot of cars that were there of people that I did not even know. I expected loud music because when someone tells you that we are going to a party, there is going to be loud music everywhere, but it was quiet. They were not even talking. Everyone was just sitting. What I saw was that everyone that was inside the lounge area was drinking red wine and they were wearing white garments, including my friend that had brought me to this party. She was wearing a white garment. She then went upstairs. I was standing in the middle of the lounge whilst everyone was looking at me from my head to my feet many times. And then when she came back, she was holding a brand new white dress and then she gave me to wear. I wanted to go to another room so that I can undress and wear that white garment, but she said that I was supposed to undress in front of everyone. I felt ashamed, and then that was when she lifted her own dress and I saw that underneath she was not wearing any panties, no bra. Even the men that were there, when they lifted their skirts, they were not wearing no underwear, nothing. They were totally naked. So I don't know what came over me. I undressed totally naked and then I wore that white garment. They gave me wine. This wine that they gave me so that I can drink, it was so thick and it tasted like human blood. I just took one sip and I became drunk. I started to see things that were not supposed to be there. I started to hallucinate. I looked at my friend who had brought me to the party. I saw that she was no longer the same person that I knew, for her face had changed and she was looking like she was a snake. Instead of a human head, I saw the head of a reptile, but as for her body, she was still that same girl. And then I looked at all the people that were in the room. All of their faces had been changed. They looked like reptiles in human bodies. And I wanted to run away because I was feeling drunk of that wine that I had drank. As I was trying to run away, then I fell down and they started to laugh at me. They were following as they were laughing. It was a demonic laughter. I then went into a corner and they surrounded me and they started to touch me and laugh at me. The moment that I woke up, I found myself, I was in the basement of that house. It had a room downstairs which I did not know about. This is where they had taken me to. Let me describe how this room looked like. The moment that we entered and when I woke up, I realized that this was a room that they did their rituals. From the inside, the room, it was just empty. The walls, they were painted black, but one could see the things that was happening inside that darkness. I saw that in the middle of the room there was a bed, but it did not have a mattress, and it was blue in color. And at the edge of the bed, I saw that there was an angel, but it was a statue of an angel. Then on the other edge of the bed, there was a statue as well of an angel. As I was looking, then I saw that these angels, the way that their wings were connected, to those that have ever seen the Ark of the Covenant, that is exactly how these two angels were connecting their wings, meaning that this bed, it was not just an altar, but it was also a covenant. One thing is that used to happen before I had been initiated. Whenever I would go to my friend's house, I would always have dreams where I would see an angel coming to me and making love to me, which was very weird that I can have a dream seeing an angel having wings making love to me. When I would tell my friend, she will say that it is normal. It just means that I am a blessed woman. So on that day when I was initiated, I did not know that this was what was going to happen. As I was standing there looking at this Ark of their Covenant, which was satanic, not something from the Bible, they came and then they started to sniff my private part, and all of them, they agreed that I was the right person that they wanted to initiate on that day, because I had never slept with a man before. What I did not know at that time was that there was a python, a snake, that was sleeping on that bed. I only realized this after they had laid me down on that bed and I felt something that was moving on my back. I screamed when I realized that there was a snake that was underneath me. I had not realized that this snake, it was as big as that bed. It started to move and it coiled itself around my waist, never wanting to let me go. And then it raised its head. It was so big and it was so scary. What I noticed about this snake was that on behind its head there were wings that were not so big. It was the first time that I saw a snake that had wings that were about 25 centimeters. This snake then started to lick my private part, my breast, and that is how my virginity was taken. Once the blood started to come out, my friend and Matthew and other satanic people that were inside that room, they came and they knelt down, and one by one they started to lick my private part, and I just fainted because it was too scary for me, everything that was happening. And then I woke up. When I woke up, I found myself in another room. Matthew had just finished having sex with me, and then he gave me money and he told me to give that money to my parents. When I returned back to the location after I had been staying with Matthew for a couple of days, I told my parents what had happened, not the satanic stuff. I just told my parents that I had been dating this rich guy from Borodzel. My mother and my father, they both celebrated, for they knew that poverty was over. They knew that once I was going to get married to him, then they were going to live a better life. I moved my parents from the location and I put them in the suburbs where we started to stay. And then I eventually got married to Matthew. The initiation kept on happening, and I was then told by my friend one day. She came and she visited me, and then she took a paper and a pen, and then she told me to write the names of 5 people that I wanted dead. She said, I want you to write the name of the person that once embarrassed you. Write the name of the person that once hurt you. Write the name of a person that you hated. Write the name of the person that you loved. Write the person of someone that you loved and did not love you back. So I wrote 5 names of the people that I was going to sacrifice. On the day of the sacrifices, I went to the houses of those 5 people that I had written down their names on that paper. It is very dangerous for someone to just come to your house and give you a gift. I gave gifts to my enemies. I gave gifts to the people that I loved, and all of them, they died. The way that they died is that they were demons that were coming out from the floor, because on the night when I was initiated, as that snake was making love to me, I saw demons that came out from the floor, and they started to celebrate because I had successfully sold my soul to the devil. So when I left the gifts at the houses of those people that I wanted to die, so after I had sacrificed those 5 people and I was married to Matthew, my lover, I thought that I was going to live happily ever after. There was one thing that I did not know about Satanism. You might be initiated by your boyfriend into Satanism, but this does not mean that you are going to stay as a married couple. Like you Christians, what you do, you can stay in your home as a couple. As Satanists, you are given different missions. You might be married, and then after staying together, when the devil sees that he does not want you to be together anymore, you are supposed to divorce each other so that you can go on your separate ways. When Matthew sat with me down and told me that this was what was going to happen anyway, he had only married me because he was supposed to initiate me into Satanism. I was hurt, and he told me not to worry because this was what our master wanted. And I asked him what my mission was going to be like. He then said, your mission is going to be outside of Zim. You are supposed to leave the borders of Zim and you go down south. So South Africa, I had never entered South Africa in my entire life. I only knew South Africa, the culture, from Generations, Scandal, as well as Rhythm City. Those were the dramas that I used to love to watch when I was in my home with my husband. So I did not know much about South Africa. I then asked my husband what my mission was going to be like. The first thing that I was told was that I had to learn Xhosa. I can speak to you in Xhosa all day long. Even with an original Xhosa speaking person, we can talk all day and that person will never even pick it up that I am not from their tribe. The way that I speak, I sound more South African than any South African person. This is how I learned Xhosa in 1 year, even though I had never learnt it before. Every night we would do a ritual where I would find myself going into the spiritual realm, where I would leave Zim and I would go to Durban. In Durban, I will meet up with other people that would also be going underneath the water to collect gifts from your marine spirits. As you know, in South Africa, sangomas, they go and they live underneath the water where they collect herbs and charms and muti. So underneath the ocean, I would meet up with this other sangoma. She is a South African Xhosa speaking sangoma who has been missing for more than 30 years. She was taken by a mermaid. I would meet up with him. She became like a mother to me. She started to teach me her language from scratch until now. I am like a Xhosa. Even when I am walking, people think that I do come from that tribe. So after the 1 year of training was over, when they see that I could manage to be like a Xhosa speaking person without anyone ever suspecting that I am from Zim, I was told that I was supposed to come to South Africa. By then, I had not yet been told what the mission was exactly going to be like. I was then told to go on the bus. In my life, I have never applied for a passport. We got to the South African border. As you know that on the Zim side these days, it is very hard to get because they even ask for the passport even when you are leaving your country. But the people that I was with on the bus, they were like, God is with us today, because no immigration officer even bothered to come to the bus so as to check the documents of the people that were on the bus. I laughed at them when we were on the South African side, because when we were on the South African side, many those that did not have passports, they were scared as they were seeing the police and the Home Affairs immigration officers walking by, even minding their own businesses. But if you have something that you are hiding, you are always afraid from the police. And when one immigration officer walked into the bus, there was dead silence. But I was not afraid, because I know that the master that he serves is not a bigger master than the one that I am serving. I live above the law. This immigration officer, when he walked in, maybe he forgot what he wanted to ask, and he ended up joking with the driver, and he got off. Another SARS officer came inside, just greeted us, and he walked out laughing. And the people in the bus, they were like, indeed, today in this bus, we are moving with an angel of God. I said, oh, these poor people, they are talking about angels as if they know angels. If they were to see an angel, all of them, they will die. They will run away. They don't know what they are talking about. They started praising God, because what happened as we were driving towards Joburg, there was a police van that started to chase the bus. But the wonderful thing that happened, which was like a miracle, there was a truck that was coming from the opposite direction. This truck had a burst tire, but the driver kept on driving. So when the police saw that this reckless driver was just driving as if nothing had happened, they made a U-turn in the N1 and they started chasing after that driver, and they let us go. That is how we arrived in Joburg without even being stopped by the police. And these people, they did not know that indeed they might have been saying the truth when they said that we have an angel of God that is traveling with us, but it was not the angel that they thought was traveling with them. For I represented the satanic kingdom, and when the devil wants a mission to be completed, he will make sure that he can move mountains so that his agent can be where he or she is supposed to be. We finally arrived in Joburg. Other agents came and picked me up, and I was taken to Kempton Park, where I am currently working as a maid. I was then given a mission, and when they briefed me on the mission is like this. I am supposed to initiate at least 58 kids that I am supposed to initiate into Satanism, the ages ranging from 10 to 16. It does not matter, as I was told, even if it is a child and their parents are from DRC, South African, non-South African, it does not matter. This is something that I did not know about Satanism when I left Zim. When you fail your mission, you are going to die. The devil can kill you if it happens that you have failed your mission. So after I had been given the mission, then I was told that you are supposed to work as a maid. You are supposed to act as if you are South African. There is no one that is going to bother you about documents. No one will have the power or the authority to ask you about documents, because you belong to another kingdom, not of this world, but you need to complete your mission. I thought that it is easy. I'm going to come back and tell you how it has not been easy. I thought that the time frame that I was given when they briefed me on this mission, I thought that I could do it so easy, but it is proving to be very difficult. There are many spiritual challenges that I am facing as I am operating in Kempton Park. Since my story is already long, I am going to come back and then I will tell you the spiritual challenges that I am facing. So far, Brother Nashi, there have been words that have reached my ears that the devil has already assigned the angel of death to take my life away if it happens that I miss his targets. I want to warn other people out there. You do not know the people that you are associating with and lusting after the lifestyle of other people, because the person that you think is sent from God so that they can assist you might be from the kingdom of darkness, as what happened to me when I was friends with that girl from Borodzel. I thought that it was a gift sent by God. She was going to assist me to have a better life, but she initiated me into Satanism. And I just urge other people to focus on their life, to pray. As for someone like me, I know where I am headed to, since I have already sold my soul to the devil. The moment that I die, I am not going to wait like you Christians. When a normal person or a Christian die, they do not go to hell. Rather, they are in a place where they wait until judgments begin. Then you are going to be judged for the things that you did. But for someone like me who does not have a soul already, the moment that I die, I am going to be placed in a prison in hell, where demons and those fallen angels are already being tortured, and we're going to be tortured for all eternity, even after judgment, because there is no soul. You can only rest and wait for judgment when you have a soul. When you have lost your soul, then you cannot wait for judgment, because you have already judged yourself by selling what you never bought. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear sister. That was the translation of the message that she sent to us. Let us try to speak with her in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us hope that she will bring part 2 of her confession.